Trudeau flees as trucker convoys enters Ottawa. As thousands of protesters enter Ottawa, Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau and his family were moved from their home to an undisclosed location somewhere in the city on Saturday afternoon due to security concerns. A freedom convoy of some 2,700 truckers entered the Canadian capital of Ottawa Saturday to protest Trudeau's
due to
COVID-19
security concerns.
Yeah, security concerns. This is a PM. So COVID-19 policies. According to The Independent, around 100 big rigs blockaded a main street running past the Canadian Parliament building. So that's going on. He just tested positive for COVID. Now it's coming into U.S. They froze the GoFundMe account, which raised over $10 million and nearly 140,000 people that donated. And now American truckers are kind of getting involved and saying, listen, we're kind of...
Facebook kicked them off yesterday.
Facebook kicked them off.
137,000 subscribers to that group. They kicked them off. Yeah, you wait till you see your election this year. You're going to see plenty of that. That's for sure.
How bad do you think the consequences are going to be? Like, you really think, some people, I talk to some people like who are professionals in my community, like, what are you talking about, truckers? I haven't seen anything on the news. I'm like, you haven't seen anything? I haven't seen anything on the news. You don't know what's going on with truckers? No, I read Wall Street Journal and New York Times. I know nothing about what's going on in Canadian truckers. So they don't watch, obviously, Fox, and maybe they don't watch podcasts, right?
But isn't that the same thing with the John Hopkins
same
report?
Exact thing.
Exactly. It's like, how did you not see it?
The point
how would I?
Yeah, so he says, you really think these truckers are going to have any kind of an influence on anything? It's truckers. You think they're going to have any influence? The way he said it. He said it's truckers.
Kind of looking down on them because they can't express it with intellectual thought.
The leader of the Socialist Party in Canada, so hypothetically on the side of the working class, the people who are most opposed to the truckers in Canada are the people who vote NDP, the socialists. About 20% of the population stably in Canada. And now and then we have a socialist provincial government. And they've done some good, I don't want to get into that. But like I said, there are people on that side of the equation who, for example, were fostered in the labor movement, and they had things to say. The working class needs to have their say. But the vast majority of people who vote NDP in Canada are opposed to the truckers. It's like, I thought you guys were on the side of the working class. It's like, what's happened? Well, not them. It's like, hey, man, welcome to the working class, those truckers. Well, they're all white supremacists and racists. It's like, really, in Canada, are they now? White supremacists, really? Or Nazis in Canada? There aren't any of them. There was some dimwit was waving a Confederate flag at the rally. And the truckers, he was masked, the truckers stripped him of his mask and chased him away. But all the mainstream press reported Confederate flags at the trucker rally, as if that matters. It's like, it's not like there are a lot of Canadians, by the way, flying the Confederate flag. First of all, that's not our country.
Exactly.
And second, most Canadians, I would say, don't really know in any deep sense what the Confederate flag stands for. I mean, people aren't that informed, and I'm not being condescending. They have other things to concern themselves about.
It's comments like what you just said that validate some people how much of a role people like George Soros plays to get protesters out there that are actors and they're not real and they're trying to instigate. To say, this is how people are feeling, because the biggest mover and shaker emotion is what? Anger. Anger is the way you get people to say, you know what, these guys are white supremacists, these guys are this. And so this validates how some people have that argument.
It also validates how Facebook does their algorithms. They want people arguing in the comment section because anger basically begets more comments and more, basically more eyeballs and more sponsors.
Jordan's saying, like, how many Canadians even know what the hell the Confederate flag even means?
Right.
And there's one, like there's 50,000 people who we don't even know how many people are in Ottawa. I've seen wildly different numbers. The idea that there was 100 trucks, that's just completely insane. There's like 10 times that number minimum. And so that's another thing that's so appalling is you can't actually get accurate information. And then, this Trudeau fleas issue, that's, I don't like that. It's not like I view that with any sense of satisfaction or delight. Like, I'm not a fan of Trudeau because I don't think he's capable of saying an honest word. And I truly mean that. And I've watched his speeches over and over, watching to see what's going on with him. And all I see is acting. Despite that, why would I be happy that the leader of my country ran away from a protest citing security concerns, which is a very bad move to begin with. It's like, well, I have to leave because you people are so dangerous. It's
You're saying it shows weakness?
Well, no, it's worse than that. It's an instigation. It's an instigation because he said that the reason he had to leave was because of security concerns, which means you people are dangerous and not to be trusted. And I don't think the truckers so far are dangerous and not to be trusted. And I've been watching them handle this. They're playing this. It's been very peaceful for the number of people who were involved in the demonstration. And that's despite the potential effect of instigator types. And that's a real threat. So even with that, it's been peaceful. And they've set up food camps to feed the homeless, and they're shoveling the snow in front of the war monument. And now they have a guard around the Terry Fox statue. Terry Fox was a man, one-legged Canadian who ran across the country raising money for cancer, and he's a Canadian hero. And his statue was desecrated in the language of the mainstream press. They put a upside down Canadian flag on it and put some clothing on him, which was desecration, which, okay, have it your way. In any case, the truckers set up a guard around the statue, so that's not going to happen again. And they seem to be not taking the bait. And so I hope that continues, and that this proclivity to instigate, which would be extraordinarily convenient for Mr. Trudeau, and which is an easy out for him, I'm praying that doesn't happen.
Is there a reason why you wouldn't show up to something like this? Like to support the truckers, or at least lend your voice?
No, the reason I'm not there is because I have other commitments, right? I'm on this tour, and people have bought tickets, and there's thousands of them, and that's what I'm doing. And, you know, I put out videos in support of them, and which I think in some sense is, well, the video I put out last week, which was a message to the Conservative premiers, essentially, and the Conservative leader who lost his position last week because there was a revolt at the federal level. And so our main opposition party transformed leadership last week in no small part as a consequence of the trucker convoy. I put out this video calling on these Conservative premiers to drop the damn mandates. And so I mentioned earlier, it's got about 1.5 million views. It's called Seize the Day. And that's as effective or more effective than me being there. So as far as I can tell. And besides, it's the best I can do under the current circumstances, given everything.
So if you enjoyed this little short segment from the podcast that we did, here's another short segment to watch. Or if you want to see the entire podcast, click over here. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.